What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
A cool assessment of the circumstance would show that Velgrund was in a disadvantageous position. She had just used one of her most powerful hidden techniques, but it had failed. All of her minor moves could be avoided, and inflicting a fatal wound would be difficult. The only option was to exhaust Veldora and rely on Rudra to call upon Regalia Dominion against him. She then took a more cautious approach.
Oh? Could it be, my sister, that you suddenly consider me to be on a par with you?
Veldora sassed Velgrund as he returned to his dragon form, possibly noticing her intentions. Despite how horrified she was by everything, Velgrund thought it to be quite humorous. I guess I've never actually spent time with him. She smiled unconsciously as a result.
Yes. You are correct. Veldora, you're all grown up now. So, if you choose to rebel against me of your own free will, I won't put up with it anymore.
More so than Veldora, Velgrund seemed to make the declaration to herself. He felt a strong feeling of danger as well as his sister's emotions. But now there was no turning back.
Then I will do everything in my power to fight you.
Veldora had rarely previously used his ultimate skill. He was now becoming accustomed to it. He was fighting a tough fight against his sister, but with this power, he believed he had a fighting chance. Thus, he determined it was now or never. Although he couldn't use parallel existence like Velgrund could, Veldora was prepared with a deadly technique of his own. Stormblast was the name of the skill, which he had only shown to Rimuru. Rimuru had helped him build it and was very proud of him for mastering it. Even Rimuru was impressed.
How is it supposed to fail on my sister?
Veldora liked his odds. No one in the world, as far as he was aware, was as cunning and tricky as Rimuru. He was always happy to have him as a friend rather than a foe. His appreciation was heartfelt. He didn't think twice before launching the Stormblast. Veldora let out a thunderstorm roar. Its rage tore through the atmosphere, shooting invisible rays of light everywhere. Velgrund didn't pay attention to attacks unless they threatened her seriously. She assumed these crisscrossing rays wouldn't have any effect on her. However, that was the exact trap. These seemingly inconsequential waves of various varieties produce enormous devastating power when they collide. They don't present a threat on their own, similar to sonic weapons. But by the time the intended recipient realizes it, it is too late. This also applied to Velgrund, who completely missed the Stormblast. She only understood how badly she had fallen for Veldora's tactics after the severe pain that tore through her entire body.
I feel pain. Veldora, what did you just do?
It's a unique technique that I've devised. I'm rather pleased of it, and I name it Stormblast.
The world's most sinister expression was on Veldora. He couldn't have been happier that his idea was a complete success. He understood that this was hardly a lethal blow, but he had never had such an advantage over his sister. Veldora believed he was entitled to boast a little because of this. But
You're truly a moron, aren't you? You still have a lot to work on.
now Veldora was in excruciating anguish unlike anything he had ever felt, and Velgrund was the one taking pleasure in it. Velgrund gave up the fight as soon as she accepted Veldora as an equal. She reasoned that the result had no relevance, therefore she concentrated solely on finishing her task. That's why she sneakily maneuvered the Emperor's flagship so that Veldora wouldn't see it when it approached. On board and prepared as usual was Lieutenant Kondo. Kondo used his most potent move on Veldora as Velgrund telepathically ordered. A judgment bullet, which Kondo could only fire once each day, delivered a blow that could have destroyed even gods. It was the apex of ammunition, created by his ultimate skill Sandalphon, Lord of Judgment, and driven to even higher altitudes by Kondo's God-class Nambu semi-automatic pistol. Nothing, not even his own necrosis bullets, could compete with it, and as far as Kondo was aware, no one could survive being shot by it. It might even completely destroy Velgrund's replications, seriously harming her in the process. Everything had transpired exactly as predicted by Velgrund. The bullet was launched at near light speed, piercing every form of defense barrier as it approached its target. Being caught off guard, Veldora was unable to respond in time. As a result, it penetrated him, threatening his own existence. He was at first bewildered.
My sister sought assistance from someone else?
He was going to defeat his sister and was ecstatic, but unfortunately, he fell for her ploy. The fact that his arrogant sister had just dropped out of the competition with him surprised Veldora the most. He knew she prioritized her own conditions of victory, but it felt extremely unlike her to do so. That seemed significant, but he was currently more concerned with more urgent matters.
Oh no, that person. He must be the person Rimuru warned me to stay wary of. But with just one strike, he rendered me helpless?
Veldora's brain was ringing with alarms in full force. It was exceedingly unusual for him to feel pain and sorrow since he was a spiritual life form. Even Veldora panicked at the realization that the all-powerful true dragon was facing a potentially fatal situation. Even though it was hard to dodge, he might have survived if it had been a full frontal assault. But now that he had been totally caught off guard, nothing could even be done by him.
Oh no, I'm in serious trouble. It might be best to concede defeat this time and avenge her afterward. Let's just get in touch with Rimuru and...
Despite everything, Veldora was unconcerned. He was aware that he and Rimuru shared a soul corridor, enabling him to be revived at any time. Veldora was immortal as long as Rimuru lived. There was no reason to be alarmed. Nevertheless, things started to deteriorate swiftly.
Regalia Dominion.
Veldora was so preoccupied with Kondo that he missed the other man on the airship's deck, who was clad in sumptuous clothes.
Masayuki? No. Huh? Wait a second. This is what? This is definitely not good.
He didn't recognize it until it was too late. Emperor Rudra, a man, was about to snatch Veldora's spirit away. Veldora was in a terrible situation after being hit by the judgment bullet. There was still something, though, that he would not accept.
I hope it's just me, but even my ally Rimuru might be hurt if this is allowed to happen. In any case, I can't let that happen.
He underestimated how much power Rudra had over him. It might even have an impact on Rimuru through their soul corridor if he became helpless and trapped in this location. That could never happen, in Veldora's opinion. As a result, he deliberately cut the soul corridor.
Well, Rimuru, it's up to you now.
Veldora's consciousness vanished after those words.
Volume 15, Chapter 2. Unleashed Power. Part 1.
It's possible that this was the first time my rage had entirely overwhelmed my ability to think clearly. I had regret and hatred at the time Xian and the others were killed. My head was filled with self-hatred. But eventually, optimism returned, which enabled me to reach a much calmer mood. I was able to keep my cool and still act out in fury-driven anger because of it. However, this time was unique. The thought of perhaps losing Veldora entirely destroyed any sense of reason, and I felt a grief that tore at my soul. The chances? They are irrelevant. The enemy needs to be destroyed. There is nothing further to say.
What will you do, Sir Rimuru? I feel as though we have been confined to a particular area. Would you wish to attempt to force our exit?
Benimaru did not have to inform me that we were entrapped. It was only reasonable that they would take measures to stop us from meddling as long as the enemy's goal was to conquer Veldora. We were the ones who were unaware of the trap and were foolish enough to fall into it.
Apology. I'm sorry.
Oddly enough, Raphael appeared to be somewhat shaken. It was acting differently than normal. Perhaps it couldn't believe that it had been cheated in such a way. Even while I am aware that it is merely a skill, there are times when it makes me grin because it seems so human. But right then, I wasn't in the mood for it. My only feeling at the time was fury. So I ordered Raphael to stop apologizing and figure out a way out of this problem. It responded that it had a gauge on our whereabouts and that the analyze and assess process will be finished shortly. Capable, as usual.
We're doing fine, right? We're fleeing right now, but the ringleaders are who we're after, okay? So pay attention. Rudra has captured Veldora. I'll spatial transport to him. You guys need to get ready for the fight because it's going to happen, okay?
I was suppressing my rage. After all, I didn't want to vent on my buddies. That had to be saved for my adversaries. As I added another order to the list, they reciprocated by nodding.
Since we no longer have access to Veldora's supply of magical power, we won't be able to request much from Ramirez. I need everyone to concentrate on defending the city we kept in the labyrinth since that indicates that it will soon be hauled back up to the surface.
Indeed, it was just a matter of time. I couldn't even imagine how hard things were for Ramirez. We needed to return immediately.
Sir Rimuru, I understand, but what about you?
I'm returning Veldora.
That was my first task. They understood without need for additional explanation when I informed them I would leave the rest in their capable hands.
Wait a second, don't you people ever overlook the most crucial thing? How are we going to escape from this place?
Laplace abruptly started whining once more just as I started to wonder why he had been so quiet. But I could give him a quick response.
Simply smashing our way out will do.
But that's absurd. I've heard great things about this city. It is referred to as the Phantom Fortress. You can bet that it's in a completely different dimension and that getting out of it won't be simple. They say that this is where they expel anyone who causes them trouble. Also, that's...
Although I was pleased with his depth of knowledge, I couldn't give him my full attention at that moment.
Report. Everything is ready.
Right.
Okay, let's move forward. Laplace, I'm getting you out of here too, so after I do, You can do whatever you want, right?
Huh? Hold on, pay attention to me.
Laplace was just about to speak. I had no concerns. I intended to kill my foes and get Veldora back as soon as possible. So, still driven by my rage, I started the spatial transport, and reappeared precisely where I had anticipated. There was absolutely no hesitation on my part because doing so under regular circumstances would be unimaginable. I was still indifferent. 2 true dragons were in front of me, and an airship could be seen behind them. I was standing directly in front of the adversary. The final step was to kick someone's ass. Raphael was now continuously admonishing me about the risk, nevertheless. It was quite irritating. I suppose it served as a gauge for the strength of the opposition, but from my perspective, it was merely a roadblock. If I made a decision, I had to follow through on it. I wasn't going to start worrying right now. Get moving. Raphael was silenced by my order.
Acknowledge. The best line of action is advised to summon a demon.
Not a horrible concept. Simply add more firepower whenever you run out. Moreover, let's not stop there. In fact, let's complete the evolution of Testarossa and the gang right now. We need to use every resource we have right now so that we may finally defeat our adversaries. I've been putting it off for a while. Now Velgrind was aware of us. Her startled eyes expanded. What was its name once more? The Fortress of the Phantom? She must have genuinely thought they had us all imprisoned in that thing. It wasn't even a problem because of Raphael's calculations. Because I'm linked to my pals through soul corridors, I can easily pinpoint my whereabouts if I can track those links back to their starting points. Once I acquired that, I could travel through space to different dimensions. In an effort to safeguard me and the capital of Rimuru, which had re-emerged far behind us, Benimaru and the others were on high alert. They didn't need to worry at all. I was performing the necessary tasks.
Testarossa, Ultima, Carrera, are you able to move?
Sir Rimuru, of course, yes.
No issue. How am I supposed to refuse my master's request?
Each of the 3 gave a different response. They weren't limited by their wounds in any way. That brought me relief. It was now time for us to start the liberation of Veldora without further delay. I would have done as Raphael advised and summoned the devils here. I was then interrupted. Kondo was the first to act, probably realizing that continuing to do nothing would be risky.
Hey anime fans! Episode 11 of Solo Leveling is now live on Anime Fans Narration. Dive into Jinwoo's latest action-packed adventure filled with intense battles and epic moments. Don't miss out. Watch it now and subscribe for more exciting episodes.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shout out to the new members of AnimeKouhai supporters: Jerry Sladek, William Locke, Jordan Mersha, Jay Magsino, Reckrel17, Bismarck Munoz, Ryan Booker, Saagar Kotecha, Kamal Luke, Izat. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.